Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to cover Babylon the Fallen One. I believe Babylon is going to be the most strongest hero of the season 14, the most safest hero to go for in terms of PvP. Not as much as for PvE, but she has the hunters that are pretty much coded correctly as far as I know, but it does require testing, same as for Venus, because her ult force does say effective healing received by allies is converted to attack and max HP, which could be tricky because if you get healed but you're full HP, it might not count as effective healing. However, if it does, she's simply the most broken hero in the game by far. You can deploy Seraphina with her in the Rift Odyssey and stack insane amounts of attack, pretty much infinite attack, by just simply doing that. You can improve Seraphina's actions with the artifacts in seasonal content, you can improve it with Sarija Yushta, and you can improve it with Lucifer, obviously. So yeah, if it is coded to work even on full HP, Seraphina is going to be so strong with Babylon, and it's going to make your team deal insane amounts of damage. But now to go over her skills correctly, I did talk about Old Force before that because I did in a way want to get it out. Babylon is going to be a Doomsday, Royal, Deviant, and a Protector. So the second Protector, first one being Lamia, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So we might be starting on the Doom Protectors now, so it's quite good. I do like that. I do believe Lamia needs some love, and she's a strong hero, and she's simply underrated, and she's missing that spice that maybe Babylon might give her. So ultimate from Babylon is deals magic damage to backline enemies. The active is deals magic damage to backline enemies, which is nothing really terrible, but nothing really amazing. So overall a simply good skill. But yeah, let's go over the most interesting parts. Obviously nobody really cares nowadays about the ultimates and active skills because they in a way became secondary skills, and the main skills are the old force and the passive skills. So first passive skill, Blood Devotion, is after allies take damage they recover 50% to 80% of the damage taken. You can already tell this is going to be broken in PvP if it's not going to be overkill damage, which simply can't be with Monarchs. You will play her with Monarchs very likely. The Protectors in this seem fake because simply of this passive. So, but it does work with Protectors in a way, as long as they don't get one shot. But if they get one shot, this passive becomes useless. So how do you not get one shot? You play her with Monarchs. Which Monarchs? Probably do Monarchs, or basically any Monarchs that want to simply live. You can even play her with Avenger Monarchs probably. So this makes Monarchs pretty much unkillable. That's the issue with this passive. So you will have to play heroes that have anti-healing or something. So Eudora and Audrey, Catherine, and a lot of heroes do have anti-heal. Even like Doris has, and there's the runes that also have anti-heal on them. So it's counterplayable, obviously, but is it strong? Yes, I do believe it's absolutely broken in Monarch Dooms. How will this impact Rift Odyssey? I'm not really sure, because this is technically active healing, so this technically does stack her own old force as well, so she's already strong on her own, basically by simply being a buffer. So we have yet to see how exactly this works in Rift Odyssey, but for PvP, as I said, with Monarchs or with Avengers or basically Protectors as well, this is simply too good of a skill to miss out on. So she is already shaping up to be one of the strongest PvP heroes simply because of the HP recovery after taking damage with Monarchs. So the second passive skill is Feral Fury. Babylon's attack count increases by 1 for every 20 to 30 initial HP lost by allies up to 5 additional attacks. This is not amazing because she doesn't scale her own attack as far as I know, so it's just effective healing received by allies. So actually, wait, when I read this, effective healing received by allies is converted into attack and HP. So yeah, after allies are attacked, Babylon has 50 to 100% chance to counter with her ultimate. So yeah, she's by nature a protector and by her skill a monarch. So she could work in Rift Odyssey. The additional actions won't help her in the Rift Odyssey as much because you have Pandora, you have Arcane Doorbell, you have Eudora to deal damage. She's obviously not going to be the one dealing damage as far as I can tell, simply from the reading the skills. I could be wrong on this, but 5 actions compared to Pandora or Elisha or Eudora is not nowhere enough to simply dethrone them from this state of the damage they deal. So despite having additional actions, and it has a condition even to get these actions, so in PvE you might even not meet the condition, so that's the tricky part. So this second passive skill is not something to get hyped about, but it's a nice skill. Extra actions, yay, we love extra action. Every hero gets an extra action nowadays. Yeah, that's just simply it. So she's not the only hero without additional actions. It seems the meta is now going to be a lot of actions per hero. Now, for her most interesting and selling point is going to be Old Force. Obviously, Old Force needs 8 stars, so it's not as free-to-play player friendly, but her 6-star passive of the damage heal up is 6 stars, so she could work even at 6 stars in 4 Monarchs, for example, is my theory. 8 stars passive, or rather Old Force passive, effective healing received by allies is converted into attack and max HP up to 50% rate. So if you heal your hero by a million, you will get 500,000 attack and HP. Is this broken? Absolutely. Like, how not? You can make Seraphina heal so much in battles, or any other hero that is a support. Maybe even Ashlyn will be usable with this hero. So effective healing, as I said in the beginning of the video, could mean that a hero, if it's at 100% of the HP and gets healed by Seraphina, it might not get converted. That's the issue with the text. We can't tell if this is going to be work one way or the another. If it's going to heal up and convert, it's going to be broken. If it's going to heal up and not convert, it's not going to be broken, because you will then have a condition of your heroes constantly taking damage, but not enough damage to die, just simply enough damage to get converted into attack. And yeah, it gets complicated and a bit trickier to actually use in the battles, especially since you can't control the enemy damage unless you simply use Tiamat or Lucifer in a way and then manipulate their damage. But even then, it's not reliable. So this passive has to work the way that I said. So if a hero is at 100% of the HP and gets healed, it has to convert the HP. So kind of like overheal in the Venus passive. So Venus passive in a way is more simple. So actually Venus passive now makes more sense to me than it did before after raiding the Babylon. So I do think Venus might be slightly better in terms of the PvE, or rather Rift Odyssey battles, to scale up your heroes than Babylon is, but Babylon really has that Monarch synergy in her damage taken reduction HP. So we have yet to see, but I do believe Babylon and the Venus, since they both share pretty much similar, if not the same passive, effective heals are the heals you received, but overheal are the heals you obviously overheal. So I think overheal is a bit easier to achieve than the effective healing, if the effective healing is actually the heal you have to take and restore, which I do believe is, unfortunately. So Babylon might be a bit weaker than Venus in that sense, but her PvP is a really strong game. Let's take a look at the PvP and GVG mode. In PvP and GVG, this counter has 25% to 50% chance to stun the target. Really nice passive, but stuns are iffy. They can be cleansed, they can be, yeah, you don't really rely on stuns anymore as we used to, because there's a lot of +2 Glorians, there's a Planetary Gate, then there's Scepter, there's Vanquisher, there's Celestials everywhere. So relying on stuns isn't really something to play around. It's something nice to help. Obviously it will help, but yeah. Her rune effect is increased reflect rate of all allies by 50 to 100%, so 500% reflect rate. It's slightly weaker than Leviathan, but it's still very strong, because we know how strong Leviathan's reflect rate increase to all allies is. Obviously this is going to be insane with Doris or Leviathan, or even both paired together. If you pair them together, you will have like what, 2000 reflect rate, which is really insane. So I do believe her legendary runes are going to be strong. After an ally takes action, increase defense and max HP of all allies by 20%, stacking up to 100 times. So this is the old force that Odin has pretty much, but minus the attack scaling. So she's mostly for the survival, which is amazing. That's the only thing she cares about. Defense obviously pairs well with protectors since they scale their defense from the synergy. And yeah, overall, I do believe this is strong. I do believe we might need, actually we might not. So Lamia and Babylon is already 3 dooms. That's enough to use the 3 dooms relic. So we might have doom protectors already viable for simply taking damage, reflecting it back, and then hitting them back with the attacks. It could very likely create a very strong combo. So yeah, Babylon I do believe is a really strong hero, but I do want to test her more than to say yes, definitely summon her. Venus might be slightly better because, as I said, overheal is slightly easier to trigger than effective healing. So yeah, just because of that, I'm more leaning towards Venus. But Babylon is really strong in PvP with this reflect damage. So maybe your heroes will simply not die. We have to see, obviously, how it works in battles. But I do believe Eve is the first hero to be released, so I'm definitely going to be summoning on her and trying her out, releasing her video and everything. You already know it. And yeah, Babylon, I do believe will be end up like A plus to S minus tier. I think S minus tier is the correct choice. Eve, I believe, will be around S tier, and Venus probably S plus if the overheal is working correctly. If not, around S tier to S minus. So yeah, I'm most excited about Eve because of all the interactions and new mechanics she brings in. Then secondly about Venus, and then thirdly about Babylon because she's just simply too iffy, but her PvP game is going to be strong. Thank you all for watching and see you guys in the next one.